Hello YouTube, my name is Tristan, welcome to L-Space Books, welcome back if you are returning, welcome to the channel if you're new. I have a book tag for you today, all about phenomenal women. Now I have all of the information here on my phone, so I'm just going to be reading from that as I am filming. So, first of all, this tag was created, it's an original tag created by Marilyn Mendoza, who is a booktuber whose channel I was not familiar with prior to being tagged in this tag, and I'm very happy that I have now found her channel. I was tagged by the phenomenal force of nature that is Book Chat with Pat. Pat over there is just an unstoppable reader, and really it sets a great example for us all, and I'm very happy that she tagged me in this video. So it has 3 prompts, and they are pretty simple, but I think warrant a lot of reflection. Well, they certainly made me reflect on all of these, because I definitely had a hard time coming to like which women I wanted to talk about. So the first prompt is, who is your favorite phenomenal woman author? And this is very difficult because I have two very... I'm trying not to do repeats, is basically the bottom line of what I'm trying to get here. And so what I'm going to end up choosing is Betty Smith. I'm going to end up choosing her. And now I'm holding up Tomorrow Will Be Better. Even though this book is not my favorite of hers, my favorite of hers is definitely A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. I think Betty Smith wrote one of the best books of the 20th century when she wrote that. I think that she did such a fantastic job of speaking about just life in the 20th century, growing up in the 20th century, across the entire thing. She did an incredible job of baking in history and culture and discussing what it was like to be a child of immigrants, and the fact that for the longest time, like, Italian and German and Irish immigrants were not white according to U.S. law. And so it's such a fascinating book, as well as it being incredibly well written. It's emotional, it's impactful. I was just so, like, it is one of my favorite books of all time, is what I'm getting at. And I think Betty Smith was just such a phenomenal author. Well, I guess was, because she's not alive anymore. But anyway, yeah, I think just because of that book, I'm going to put Betty Smith as one of my favorite phenomenal, as not my absolute favorite, but certainly one of my favorite, like, very, very close to the top phenomenal women. And I did want to say that I'm also avoiding sort of like, I don't want to say the low-hanging fruit, but I think the ones that people will often mention, like Toni Morrison, Zadie Smith, authors like that, Harper Lee, Lois Lowry, those sorts of authors, because those are like kind of a given in a way. Like, I think that a lot of people will put them, and so I'm also trying to like branch out a little bit and do some phenomenal women that might not normally get mentioned in a situation like this. But anyway, yeah, so that is definitely my favorite female author. Tree Grows in Brooklyn, I need to reread that, because it was one of the first books that I read getting into reading, and it was like one of the books that actually got me into reading as a hobby, and just, yeah, that holds a very near and dear place to my heart as well. As well as it being just like a phenomenal feminist book. Like, so good. So good. Anyway, yeah, I need to reread that. Okay, so that's Betty Smith. Love her. This is also a decent book. It's kind of in the same vein as Tree Grows in Brooklyn, but I don't think it's as good. Definitely shorter. Okay. So the next one, what book features your favorite phenomenal woman character? Now, I'm going to do 2, and the reason is I want to make sure that I am... So, okay, let me just cut to the chase here. Equal Rights by Terry Pratchett. It is a woman written by a male author. So that is the sort of caveat here that I'm working with. So the Granny Weatherwax, and I'm also going to put Nanny Ogg in there too, are 2 of my favorite female women protagonists and main characters, and just characters in general. I think that they, and obviously I have another book coming that is a female character written by a female author. So don't just bear with me, because I definitely want to honor women authors as well, and not just because obviously this is about phenomenal women, but I do want to highlight when a male author is able to write a woman well, and I mean, whatever my word is worth in this particular situation, because I am not a woman, I do not identify as a woman. Nevertheless, Granny Weatherwax and Nanny Ogg, I think, while being the sort of caricatures and stereotypes of the mother and the crone, and sort of obviously playing off of those stereotypes, especially those stereotypes of femininity. Cat shenanigans, here we go. Speaking of phenomenal women, here comes Wally. But I think what I find so compelling and so important about those 2 in particular is the fact that they are not attractive. They are not academically educated. They're not like traditionally educated by any means. They are not, and they're not young by any means. Like, both of them are like in their 60s or 70s, and like, to be honest, I think Granny Weatherwax I kind of place in her 80s. And despite that, they are intelligent, they're independent, they are infinitely compassionate, they are resourceful, they're fair, they're just, and they embody really all of the values that I aspire toward and I really feel like that deserves to be mentioned, and that deserves to be honored. And the other thing that I find so important about their characters in general is that Pratchett, in crafting these older characters, shows that your value and your importance does not end when you turn 50 or 60 or anything like that. The amount of power and ferocity in kind of all of the best ways that you can use that word, their fierceness, is not diminished by the fact that they are old women. And I really, really appreciate that about the way that Pratchett portrays them. Like, he does not make fun of their age. He rather uses their age as a way of making them compelling characters, if that makes sense. And I don't know if that's quite the best way to discuss it, but that's definitely the thing that's coming to mind at the moment. So for that reason, I am including, and actually I think that Equal Rights is probably not the one that I would want to do, even though this is a story of women overcoming sexism and gender norms. I don't think that I would choose this one for the Phenomenal Women one, I think I would probably choose Witches Abroad, just because that's my favorite one of the Witches books, followed closely by Lords and Ladies. But anyway, yeah, I think that even though it's written by a male author, I do think that Granny Weatherwax and Nanny Ogg deserve to be honored for just like the portrayal of phenomenal women. And yeah, that's what I will say about that. Now, for a phenomenal woman that is written by a phenomenal woman is going to be Still Life, Evelyn Skinner, of course, by Sarah Winman. So Still Life by Sarah Winman, the character being Evelyn Skinner, who is, detecting a theme here, an elderly lesbian who she's an art historian and has just this love of life. And her tenderness and compassion and her intelligence are just so compelling. Anytime she's on the page, I am enthralled in this book, and she is what makes this book, without a doubt. I think that anybody that has read this book, Evelyn Skinner is the star of the show, of this book. And she's just phenomenal. And I really, really love her. And I think she also does a good job so Sarah Winman, through the voice of Evelyn Skinner, does a good job of highlighting, what's her name? Artemisia Gentileschi, I think is her name. But anyway, female painters of the Renaissance, and also just women's history throughout the Renaissance and the Middle Ages, because it's male focused, and I think that this book is a great testament to the contributions of women in Italian society and art in general. So I love Evelyn Skinner. She is definitely a phenomenal female character. Now the last one is, my phone is off. What is it? So, if you were creating a book prize, which book by a phenomenal woman author would you choose? And I am, of course, going to choose Brown Women Have Everything by Sayantini Dasgupta. My friend and mentor wrote this book, and so am I a little bit biased? Yes. Can we get over that fact? Also, yes. So, I'm choosing this because Dasgupta has just a really lovely conversational tone that is so accessible and so easy to consume, while also really hitting on some very important topics like feeling othered, being the subject of society's expectations for you as a woman, and as well as being caught between two cultures and being, just feeling as an outsider, as well as just like being a really hard-working person. And just like she does such a good job of shining a light on aspects of the world, our lives, the way that we interact with each other, and just like and food in general, that I think that the way that she helps us view the world and each other and culture and society and all of that is just really phenomenal. So I think that if I were to give a prize to a phenomenal woman author, it would definitely be this one, because this book just in general is really, really good, and I would love people to read this more, and I think obviously giving a prize to it would send it into the shelves and the hands of more people. But yeah, I think that Sayantini Dasgupta is just a phenomenal author, and she's very funny, and yeah, I think that this deserves a lot of praise, and of course the prize. Now, I am very behind on a lot of tags, and because of that, I'm running into the problem that I don't know who has not done this tag yet. So I am going to tag you, the viewer. Go ahead and do this tag if you're watching, if you haven't done it already. If you have done this tag, definitely just give me your responses in the video. Link your video to it if you're a YouTuber. And of course, like if you're not, just like write your responses in the comments. I would like to hear what you have to say about these, because I feel like we should definitely be, and also it's like almost Women's Prize season, so we should definitely be celebrating some phenomenal women, because we are about to be, because Women's Prize season is upon us. So let me know in the comments what your responses to these prompts are. And if there's anybody on my subscriber, or no, not my subscriber list, anybody on the channels I'm subscribed to have not done this tag yet, I will definitely be tagging them in the description box, because yeah, it's a great tag. And also, especially, I mean, like right now, it's very timely, because it's like a week or so until the Women's Prize long list is announced. But yeah, anyway, keep an eye out for that as well, because we're about to see some more phenomenal women on that, and that's exciting. But yes, that's all I have for you today. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon in another video.